The 14 times Grammy winner Taylor Swift, known for her catchy tunes, heartfelt lyrics, and meteoric rise to fame, has not only captured the hearts of millions around the globe, but has also found herself at the center of various controversies. We delve into the most talked about controversies in this guide. We also focus on the numbers and unveil how these controversies have unfolded over time and what they've meant for Swift, her fans, and the music industry at large. From her early days as a country singer to her evolution into a global superstar and influencer, Swift's journey has been anything but smooth. Yet, each controversy has not only highlighted her resilience, but it's also shown how quickly judgment can get out of control in the digital age. Join us as we unravel the complexities and the numbers behind Taylor Swift's most dramatic moments. Here's our overview of the 9 biggest Taylor Swift controversies throughout the years, from copyright lawsuits to feuds with other celebrities. The popular hit song Shake It Off was released in 2013, and since then became Swift's most viewed YouTube video, hitting 3.4 billion views as of March 2024. However, not everyone is a fan. In 2017, 2 songwriters, Sean Hall and Nathan Butler, filed a lawsuit against Swift, claiming that she plagiarized their song Playa's Gone Play, released in 2001. The basis was that the 3LW song featured lyrics, Playa's they gonna play and haters they gonna hate, which are allegedly similar to a line in Shake It Off. The dispute lasted for 5 years. The original lawsuit was initially dismissed in 2018, but Hall and Butler appealed that decision, which was reversed in 2019. Swift claimed that she'd never heard Playa's Gone Play until the suit and requested a summary judgment, which was rejected in 2021. That means that Taylor Swift would have had to face a jury trial in January 2022. However, the case was finally dismissed by a judge with prejudice in December 2022, per the parties' request, as they reached an agreement to end it. The sum of the settlement hasn't been disclosed to the public. Hall and Butler weren't the first to sue Swift over Shake It Off, although their dispute was the longest. In 2015, singer Jesse Braham demanded $42 million in damages, claiming that the hit plagiarized his Haters Gonna Hate song. That suit was dismissed the same year, albeit without prejudice. We recently wrote about Swift's best-selling albums, and as you might remember, 4 of them have been re-recorded since their release. The reason for that is the artist's dispute with her former label Big Machine Records. Swift was Big Machine's first recording artist, and they had the ownership rights to the masters, original recordings, of her first 6 albums released in 2006-2017. As her contract was due to expire in 2018, her representatives proposed to the label that the masters be sold to her. The label insisted they'd only do so if Swift were to renew her contract for another 10 years. No agreement was reached, but as a result of a $330 million acquisition of Big Machine by Scooter Braun's company in 2019, the rights to Swift's masters went with it. Swift, who doesn't get along with Braun for many reasons, only found out about it after the fact and put together a scathing social media post, calling Braun a bully and a manipulator. Swift received a lot of support from fellow artists like Ed Sheeran and Kelly Clarkson. But the drama escalated when Big Machine tried to stop her from performing her old songs at AMA and using them in her documentary, Miss Americana. The label eventually gave the artist the green light. However, that wasn't the end of it. As a result of the controversy, which also involved Big Machine trying to monetize an album of Swift's performance that she didn't authorize and reselling her records to an investment firm in 2020, Swift took the decision to re-record her first 6 albums. This meant she could reclaim the ownership of the masters. To date, 4 out of the 6 albums have been re-recorded as Taylor's versions. The event was highly publicized and is considered one of the biggest events in music in the last few years and a transformative moment for artists. Swift's decision to speak up and re-record her albums was praised by artists and politicians familiar with the exploitative practices of private equity firms. The highly publicized feud between Taylor Swift and Kanye West started way back in 2009 when West interrupted Swift's acceptance speech at the MTV VMAs. Swift was accepting the prize for the best music video, You Belong With Me, when West got on stage to cut her off and proclaim, "Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you, I'ma let you finish, but Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time." Both Swift and Beyoncé were shocked by West's outburst. Following it, Beyoncé shared her time on stage with Swift after winning her award for support. West did subsequently apologize to Swift, but the contentious relationship didn't end there. In 2010, Swift performed Innocent, a track seemingly about West and the incident. As a result, the feud reignited and West took back his apology in 2013. In 2016, West released Famous, a song featuring sexist lyrics about Swift, and of which she had no prior knowledge. The lyrics prompted social media outrage from artists, but West's then-wife Kim released an alleged phone call between West and Swift where she seemingly allowed the lyrics. The phone call has since been proven edited, but not before Swift was called a snake. The same year, West released the Famous music video. Swift called the NSFW video, featuring the naked bodies of celebrities, including her, revenge porn, in the same Tumblr post as the one from the previous controversy. Swift addressed the feud with West in her interview with Time in December last year, calling the phone call a fully manufactured frame job. Swift's other major feud was with her fellow pop star Katy Perry. Before the fallout, the two artists seemed like close friends. But in December 2013, things started to get messy. Perry was dating Swift's ex, John Mayer, at the time, but that wasn't the problem. According to dancer Lockhart Brownlee, in 2012, John Mayer and two other dancers left Swift's Red Tour and joined Perry's Prismatic Tour. Needless to say, Swift wasn't pleased, but stayed silent, until 9 months later. One of the top tracks of her 2014 album 1989 was Bad Blood, and was heavily rumored to be about another artist. In an interview that year, Swift confirmed that another artist did try to sabotage her tour, stopping short of mentioning Perry by name. Perry responded with a scathing tweet calling Swift Regina George in sheep's clothing. The two artists wouldn't reconcile for a few years, during which there have been several other questionable tweets and exchanges, although Swift has never publicly called out Perry by name. In 2017, Perry dropped Swish Swish, allegedly a diss track that was a response to Swift's Bad Blood. She addressed the controversy for the first time that same year. A year later, Perry sent Swift an actual olive branch, and the two reconciled shortly after. Swift's seventh studio album, Lover, was received very positively and was one of the most streamed albums on Spotify, with over 3.6 billion streams in 2023. However, it's not free of controversies. The second lawsuit on our list concerns that very album. In 2022, a poet from Mississippi, Teresa Ladart, claimed that the design and content of her 2010 poetry book Lover had been ripped off by Swift for her seventh album's accompanying book. Ladart believed that Swift's alleged actions infringed her copyright and sued Swift for over $1 million in damages. The album's accompanying book was done in the same style as Ladart's collection, including the same color scheme and title, according to the claimant. Swift's legal team requested a dismissal, calling Ladart's accusations woefully deficient and stating that it should have never been filed. In July of the same year, Ladart voluntarily dropped her claim. According to Swift's lawyers, it had few chances of success in the first place, as both creatives used popular stock elements that couldn't be monopolized by one author alone. Lover wasn't the only album by Swift that was accused of IP violations. The release of her first pandemic album, Folklore, in July 2020, which has since set several records and become one of her most popular albums, was marked with a logo infringement controversy. Amira Rasool, owner of the Folklore showroom, which specializes in high-end African fashion, accused Swift of stealing her design for the merchandise of the album based on the similarities between the merch and Rasul's own work. Swift publicly responded to the complaint on Twitter, offering to help Rasul's company, and her team subsequently issued a statement confirming that the merchandise had been changed and no merch with the previous design had been shipped out. Rasul commended the artist and her team for taking a great first step. As of summer 2020, they were in a conversation about the next steps. When Taylor Swift announced her 6th concert tour, the Eras Tour, in November 2022, few could have anticipated it becoming the highest-grossing music event of all time. However, even fewer of us could have predicted the pre-sales chaos that would follow. After Swift's announcement, fans found that Ticketmaster crashed very quickly. Some of them were locked out after the verified fan codes failed to work, and others lost their tickets in the sales process after waiting for hours. Overall, over 2 million tickets were sold, but Ticketmaster had to cancel the sale due to unprecedented demand. After the crash, Swift addressed the controversy on her social media, slamming Ticketmaster. The fiasco triggered a social media backlash and several lawsuits by groups of fans, and they weren't the only ones who noticed. A few days after the crash, the Justice Department took note and opened an antitrust investigation into Ticketmaster for power abuse. Although Swift's ticket sales are far from the only occasion under investigation, as the inquiry predates the event, it was arguably the trigger. The inquiry is still ongoing and has been marked by legislators quoting Swift's lyrics on more than one occasion. Flying is one of the least planet-friendly ways to travel, and flying by a private jet is even more so. Despite that, many celebrities insist on using them, and Taylor Swift is no exception. According to the research by Yard, Swift's $40 million private jet was the worst offender when it came to private jet CO2 emissions in 2022. Her private jet amassed 22,923 minutes in the air in H1 of 2022, which amounted to 8,293.4 tons of CO2 emissions. Her shortest flight was only half an hour, and the average length of her flights was 80 minutes. Other top offenders were boxer Floyd Mayweather with 7,076.8 tons in emissions, and Jay-Z with 6,981.3 tons. To address the controversy, Swift's team claimed that her jet is often loaned to other individuals, so it was misleading to attribute all these flights to her. Moreover, she claims to offset these emissions, although she doesn't disclose the relevant carbon offsetting projects she's participating in. A couple of months ago, the world saw how damaging AI deepfakes can be. Taylor Swift's deepfake pornographic images appeared across Twitter and 4chan in January 2024. The explicit images sparked outrage and were subsequently taken down after mass reporting from users. Eventually, X temporarily blocked users from searching for Swift's name. However, the damage was done, and the images were seen as many as 47 million times. The topic of Taylor Swift AI began trending on Google in some regions, including the USA and Canada. The abusive images prompted the CEO of Microsoft, whose AI was used to generate them, to respond by defending Microsoft's ability to protect its users. Even the White House was alarmed by the situation and called for legislation combating sexually explicit deepfakes. To date, no such legislation exists in the US, and Section 230 protects platforms like X from liability. While Swift's deepfake AI situation is horrifying, she is far from the only woman who's experienced it. According to The Guardian, 96% of deepfake videos feature non-consensual pornography, which is a stark reminder of the misogyny and abuse still prevalent on the internet. We can only hope that with the advancements of AI, the accountability of tech companies will also advance at a comparable pace.